So I got my timer set. Y'all got about 2 minutes and 15 seconds to write what you think that phrase means. 100 years in Black American rhythm, from stomping and clapping to digital grooves. 100 years in Black American rhythm, from stomping and clapping to digital grooves. What does that mean to you? What do you think? Let me see if you can figure out what I'm going to tell you before I even say it to you. You got about 1 minute and 45 left. You can look up here at the title. There it is, 100 Years in Black American Rhythm, from stomping and clapping to digital grooves. What do you think that means? You now have about 60 seconds left. You got about 30 seconds left. 100 years in Black American rhythm, from stomping and clapping. So we're going to start with stomping and clapping, and we're going to end with digital grooves. I'm going to give this row right here, I'm going to give y'all a few more minutes, because y'all seem to have gotten y'all's papers a little late. But everybody else pencils down in 10, 9, 8, what's happening, brother? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down. Pencils down. Pencils down. English is your first language. Pencils down. It's all good. Pencils down. Now, when you do your paper, it's okay. You take those up for me. Thank you so much. All right. Now, I don't have a lot of time to be with y'all today. And what we're going to talk about is very important if you're serious about becoming a better musician. If you're not serious about becoming a better musician, that's fine. I'll put you over there in the category of people that are not serious. But I'm a product of this jazz orchestra. I was here from the years 2003 to 2008. I was the first student to be selected for the NCA&T Jazz All-Star Band. I've been all over the world playing music. You understand? So I'm not just somebody with an opinion. I know what I'm talking about. You feel me? I've got a lot of respect for Dr. Cooper and what he's trying to do with you here. And my role is to come in as someone who's a little bit further down the path on their journey of their artistry or in their artistry, to give you some wisdom to hopefully accelerate you in your journey, right? So let's start at the beginning. 100 years of Black American rhythm, from stomping and clapping to digital grooves. Thank you very much. As competent jazz musicians, historians, and educators, you need to know the history and the mechanics behind these two essential rhythms in Black American music. The first being the Tresillo rhythm. Why do we call it African rhythm? Why do we talk about an African rhythm with a Spanish name or with a Spanish word? Because the North African Moors ruled Spain for over 1,200 years. If you didn't know that, you know that now. And it just happens to be that even though it's a North African rhythm that they took up there, we just still refer to it using Spanish language. So let's deal with that rhythm. Y'all should know it as the Charleston rhythm. It's like this. 1, 2, you know what to do. Don't rush. Relax. And stop. If you can learn that rhythm in all three of its inversions, I'll let you screenshot this. I'll let you take a picture of this whenever I'm done. if you can learn that rhythm in all three of its iterations, oh, I did it backwards. And then take a picture of that or write it down. If you're serious. If you cool with sounding sad, then don't worry about it. But if you really about that life, if you're trying to get better, you need to know this rhythm. And you need to know all three inversions of that rhythm. Because it's the cheat code to everything that you're trying to figure out. Some of y'all are listening to your transcriptions that you gotta learn. And you're like, dang, I can't seem to figure out what they're doing. I guarantee you, if you learn these three iterations of the same rhythm, anywhere between 70 to 80% of what you're trying to figure out is going to unlock itself, because jazz is a rhythmic music first. If you can master rhythm, then you can master every style of music of the black diaspora. Why is that? Because Africans have always understood the relationship between the drums and the oldest instrument on the planet. What's the oldest instrument on the planet? You should know this. The what? The human voice, right? It's on your body. The second oldest instrument is percussion. And what happened was Africans realized, oh snap, we can create drums that completely emulate how we talk. Y'all ever heard of a talking drum? That's what a talking drum is. Well, you should Google a talking drum. I'm not going to show it to you today. Y'all are scholars. You should have an intellectual curiosity beyond what I'm saying to you. You should Google it, a talking drum. Now, in the West African kingdom of Sundiata, or the Mali kingdom, they had this system so down pat that they could start, the king could deliver a message starting in the Appalachian Mountains and have it get to the coast of Wilmington in about an hour. They used drums as the first long-range telecommunication devices. What is the real point of what I'm saying to you? That rhythm carries a message. And if you understand the message, then you can play the music right. The main reason why y'all ain't playing this music on the level that you can is because there are messages going like this over your head. And that's okay, right? That's okay. Because some of y'all, how many of y'all started playing jazz when you got to college? Raise your hand. Okay, cool. So here's the reality of that. If you just started playing jazz, that means that you are the equivalent of a kindergartner in the school of jazz. And that's okay. I'm not saying that to like hurt your feelings. I'm saying that so that you can realize, okay, bet I'm here, and then I just need to simply work so I can continue to get better. You feel me? Rhythms carry messages. Now, the second rhythm is called the Pentecostal beat. I learned this terminology from Branford Marsalis, who's a mentor of mine. Like I said, I did undergrad here at A&T. Then I went down to Central and got my master's in jazz. And while I was working on my master's, I was going off on tour with Branford and his pianist, Joey Calderazzo. And that 2.5-year period jumped me several decades in my understanding of the music. It's very important that you understand how to honor people who are masters at their craft. Whenever I was a student here at A&T, the old jazz band director, Dr. Montre Moffitt, used to pick him up. I wouldn't even sit in the chair when I'm the drummer, right? I wouldn't even sit in the chair when I would go to his office. I would sit on the freaking floor. Now, some of y'all are too prideful to be like, I ain't sitting on the floor, my professor. Well, guess what? When you humble yourself like that, everything that a person has to give to you, you absorb it that much faster. One of the reasons why sometimes it's difficult for you to catch something is because you're not honoring the person, you're not honoring the vessel right. You know what I'm saying? So it's interference. When you try to master humility, I don't care if you're a business major, if you're an engineer, whatever your field of endeavor is, if you master humility, humility is the cheat code to get stuff from people at an accelerated pace. I don't even know why I felt compelled to say that to you. But rhythms carry messages. And if you can understand the message, you can understand the music. Let's deal with the Pentecostal beat. It goes like this. 1, 2, 3, begin, go. Yeah, this is the jazz band. There you go. And stop. Thank you, because I did this for the history of jazz class, and everybody was in here. My percussionist was holding me down, but everybody else, man, I was like, yo, that hurt my heart. Y'all sound good. Listen to this. You've got to learn how to synchronize before you learn how to syncopate. If you master synchronization, what I'm giving you are all of the cheat code rhythms that will cause you to synchronize with any ensemble you're in. You see what I'm saying? The type of music that I learned here was, I learned improvisation. I learned the basic mechanics of how to improvise in any musical setting. And the first principle of improvisation is the power of agreement. How can two walk together unless they agree? When you come into a musical setting, you've got to have your ears so wide open. The first thing is this: you got to master dynamics. Why the freak are you playing so loud? I mean, I get that you're excited to play, but you're playing too loud. Why are you not listening first? Why are you not listening to what's going on around you, and then you adjust your volume to that? You see what I'm saying? Same thing with the drums. You feel me? I come from a gospel background. Whenever I first started playing jazz, I was playing the bass drum too loud. It took me years to master feathering. You want to know the secret to feathering the bass drum? Play it with your toe. Do like this, wiggle your toe and your foot. All the drummers, do it heel down. And you're not wiggling your toe, you're rocking your ankle. Wiggle your toe. Exactly, that's it. That's how you feather the bass drum. You can make the checks payable to Larrydraughnmusic. I have a QR code at the end. That's $1 million worth of game right there, man. And you need to do that with both feet. Synchronize before you syncopate. Max Roach has an exercise. Let me sit down right quick. Because if I didn't come here for anybody else, I came for these guys. Max Roach has an exercise where he does different dynamics. Now, I ain't done this in a minute, so we're going to go through this together. But you play all four limbs at the same time, and then you mess around with the dynamics of each one. So you go. So you start there. And you play the hi-hat now. You bring it back down. Right, together. And you do the bass drum, right? Bring that back down. Then you do the ride drum. Last thing, the snare drum. You do that for an hour. Watch what the food happens. It might start raining outside. You know what I'm talking about? Because before you are able to syncopate, before you're able to do the opposite, you got to bring things in unison. You got to bring things together into agreement. You understand? That's the learning process. The first part of the learning process is copying. How did you learn how to talk as a baby? You would hear an adult say a curse word, and then you say the curse word. You know what I'm saying? You would hear an adult say something, and then you would copy. What do black people call that? Call and response. Call and response. Be quiet, listen, respond with the same data. After you've done that process for a long time, you then become able to come up with a more sophisticated response. It's the same data, but now you're able to impose your own will on the response, and you can vary it. This is the key to transcription. You understand? I teach elementary school, and my kids are crushing it because I ain't some lame elementary school teacher. You feel me? The same stuff that I do on the road, I make them do in the class. And one of the main things I have my kids do is we play along recordings. We perform to records because it does two things. Number one, it's going to get their internal clock together. They're learning how to master hearing a sound source on that side of the gym, but they understand, okay, wait a second, because of the Doppler effect, I don't need to listen to the echo. I need to listen to the primary source, and I need to do everything musically according to that. And they're doing this in kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade. The second thing is, you've got to humble yourself. You don't know anything yet, so you should copy Duke Ellington. You should copy Thelonious Monk, because they've proven that what they have to say is valid. And after you go through a process of doing that long enough, then you're able to take what they've done and manipulate it and turn it into your own, okay? This Pentecostal beat and this Tresillo rhythm, it's the confluence of these two rhythms that have come up with every genre and subgenre of jazz, starting with the Charleston rhythm. So let's fast forward. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I can tell you about how these rhythms are connected to your heartbeat, but you got to pay me for that. Let's start with the Charleston rhythm. Told you it's a lot. When you begin to think like this, one of the secrets, and this is the type of, a lot of this stuff was given to me by me asking a lot of questions, but I'm gonna keep it hot with you because I'm also a pastor. A lot of this stuff was given to me supernaturally in dreams. Because while I was a student here in North Carolina, A&T State University, starting in 2007, I went through a 2-year period where I was given 250 songs in dreams. So there's an element of what we do that is supernatural. And whenever I would talk to master percussionists from Cuba, from West Africa, they would be like, how old is you again? You 22, how the freak do you know that? You ain't supposed to know that, because if you know anything about African culture, you know that the music is directly connected to the religion. You feel me? And so I'm talking to 80-year-old men, and they're like, you're supposed to still be playing the cowbell for the next decade. How do you know that? I'm giving you the cheat code, because a lot of y'all grew up in church. God is going to talk to you about music in your dreams. That's all I'm going to go into on that. But here's one of the things that I learned. All that this is, the message behind this, is mastery of long and short. That's it. Long, long, short, long, long, short, long, long, short. You can make your checks payable to Larrydraughnmusic. Let's jump into this. Well, let me show you the timeline first. And drummers, you need to be aware of that terminology, timeline, because this rhythm that we play in West African music, that's called a timeline. Africans don't think of time in a linear fashion. They think of it in a circular fashion. You know what I'm saying? You think of it like that. And timeline. So really what I'm showing you is, I'm showing you a circle of how one idea, which is the Pentecostal beat and the Tresillo rhythm, starts at the beginning, it cycles through, and then the next generation grabs that same data, goes through another cycle, comes back to the same point. This is really what the timeline is. So let's go through it. You need to know Warren Baby Dies. If you got your phone, take a screenshot. I'm gonna go through this quickly. All right, boom. Let's move on. You need to know Papa Joe Jones. And the beautiful thing is, these drummers are connected to the greatest jazz ensembles in history. So just by you looking up the drummers, you're gonna listen to the right bands. Because it's not just the drummers, it's the bands that they were connected to. What's up, sis? All right, 1940s, bebop, Kenny Clark. You need to know him. 1950s, Art Blakey. You need to know Art Blakey. You have to know Art Blakey. We're going to fight if you don't know Art Blakey. Max Roach. You need to know Max Roach. He's from North Carolina, the Newland Township. He was born here. A lot of people. Did y'all know Billy Strayhorn, the cat who arranged for Duke Ellington? He spent his summers in Hillsborough, North Carolina. You need to know Elvin Jones and Tony Williams and the bands that they played in, because these rhythms have a very specific context. You need to know Clyde Stubblefield. And you need to know James Brown. We were just talking about Melvin Parker, who was the drummer for James Brown. Guess what? Melvin Parker and James Brown's leading alto saxophone player, Maceo Parker, they're from Kinston, North Carolina. And from what I understand, Maceo, because he's up in age, he may be, it's either him, no, Melvin's the one that passed away. I forget who's alive. But then, say again? Maceo. I'm making my pilgrimage to Kinston. I don't know about you. And I'm going to show up to his doorstep with some barbecue. And hey, listen, sir, I'm going to sit on the freaking floor. I'm going to press record. And I'm just going to let him talk. You understand? You need to know Prince. Right? You can't really see him that well. But R.I.P. to the late, great Quincy Jones. That's Herbie Hancock though in the background. People sleep on Herbie Hancock's contributions, not only to hip hop, but to electronic music. Before Herbie Hancock became a master, or the same time he was developing his skill set as a master jazz pianist, he was also an engineer. So all of the engineering majors in here, you need to study Herbie Hancock as a template of somebody who loves music, but also had a brilliant mathematical mind, because he's pioneered things in the electronic music industry that we really don't talk about. He's probably gonna have to die, and then everybody's gonna start talking about it, because that's how goofy we are as people. We don't respect things while they're alive. Miles Davis. Miles Davis changed the music, the face of music, 5 freaking times. And he was the first jazz musician. Well, he was around, he was in the generation of jazz musicians from the 1940s that fully embraced hip hop. I don't have it up here in my presentation, but I'm making an addendum, you know, the addendum, you know the word I'm trying to say. I'm making an addition to my presentation where I include Max Roach's influence, because Max Roach loved hip hop. In fact, he was playing with DJs and breakdancers because he recognized, yo, this is your grandchild. I started this and y'all are doing me. New Jack Swing, Jay Dilla, Teddy Riley. All these were either church cats and or jazz musicians, and you hear it in their sound. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, the cats right here. And they got their start with Prince. Prince is a son of James Brown. You know what I'm saying? James Brown is a son of, you really could argue that he was picking up where, what's the cat? Jackie Wilson. James Brown, you can look it up on Instagram and YouTube. He really thought as a jazz musician, that was really his concept. But what he wanted to do was, y'all know what modal jazz is, right? If you know what modal jazz is, put your hand up in the air. Modal jazz is whenever you use 1 or 2 chords. It's minimalism. That's what they call it in classical music, minimalism. But the beautiful thing about black minimalism is that we put something in a small box, but we are thinking all of the same orchestral sophistication that you would if you had 100 bars of material. We're fitting all of that into 1 bar. That's how you gotta listen to James Brown to understand him. But all of the young men up here have studied him, and they are products of him. Timbaland. You need to know Timbaland. If you're serious about what you're doing, you need to know Timbaland. You need to know Zaytoven. He's a church cat. Zaytoven makes beats for all of these ratchet rappers, and he plays at his church every Sunday. Gospel cat. You need to know Questlove. Now, I know we're getting closer to y'all's generation. You also need to know Young Chop. I ain't even gonna hold you, because he pioneered the drill sound. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the message behind drill music, but you need to know it. You also need to know this brother, Chris Daddy Dave. All right, so we've gotten through that. All of the percussionists, I want y'all to take a picture of these books. You need to get these books. But anybody in here who's serious about music, you need to get these books. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on certain sections of rocking and rhythm. That's what y'all working on, right? That's one of y'all's tunes. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna point out these rhythmic devices that I'm talking to you about in the song, and that's what we're gonna shed today, and that's what we're gonna tighten up, so get ready. And we're gonna try to play along with the record, so that means that you really gotta have your time. I'm gonna play it as loud as I can, but you need to make the dynamic adjustment. Let's get ready to hit. late. Come on. You ready? This is for okay. A lot of y'all would have got fired because you weren't ready to hit. How is it that we are, because this is part of your process too. How is it that it's 12:31 and you ain't ready? The freak? Back to the sock symbol in a second. Drag it. Drag it. Stop. Y'all see how far behind we were? We're dragging, right? Part of that's just passivity because you don't want to be wrong. I would rather for you to be strong and wrong than weak. You feel me? So what is the most logical way to fix the problem of not being able to hear the recording?
Be quiet.
Quiet. So do that. Where's your breath control? Let's start a few measures back. So let's talk about dragging. Y'all can sit down. Let's talk about what dragging is rhythmically, right? Somebody raise your hand and tell me what dragging is. What is dragging? If you're dragging the tempo, trombone man, what's your name, sir?
Jalen.
Okay, go ahead.
You're falling behind on the tempo, but it's not like, some people don't notice it, but like if you hear it hard enough, you're just like slightly off tempo, but below.
Mm-hmm. Somebody else give me a depth. Go ahead.
You're behind the beat instead of on or ahead of the beat.
Yes. Now, let me talk to my drummers, right? Scientifically, because, you know, we speak a language that everybody don't know. You feel me? So, boom. You got a quarter note. We understand it. What is this rudiment right here? What's that? What rudiment is that? Yo, we about to fight. This is a flam. A flam. A flam exists by a grace note and a principal stroke. And it's okay if you don't know these things. Please don't mistake my straightforwardness as me being upset with anybody. This is love. I love y'all. You feel me? So I'm trying to get you the information as quickly as possible. A flam is like this. How many sound sources is that? Is that one? Is that two? Is that three? How many is it?
Two.
It's two. So you remember how I said you got to learn how to synchronize first? This is your lesson on how to play along with recordings. One of the weaknesses we have to deal with as an ensemble is we've got to master synchronizing with the record. I love how church cats say it. They say the way that you know you playing with the click the right way is what? You can't hear it. You should be so in sync with the record that you can't hear it. And when you hit that place, I'm saying this to everybody. When you hit that place of, I'm talking about complete synchronization, something supernatural does happen. Because it's like you're sucked into this world of ease. Everything, you don't sound, how many of y'all gonna be playing along with a recording, it feels like there's like a fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you for being honest. Well, the reason why is because you're doing this. You aren't synchronizing with it. But when you learn how to get completely synchronized with the recording, here's what happens. It sounds like you do this, like you're playing and you're wrestling, and the second you sync, it's like, oh, the music pulls you along with it. You feel me? Your first priority as a serious rhythmist is to get in that place and never leave. You feel me? So, listen, my dad said it to me like this. He said, son, he says, you gotta learn how to take your time. And I was thinking he was telling me to learn how to just go slow. He was like, no, stupid, listen to what I'm saying. He says, you gotta learn how to take your time. It took me 15 years to do this, but it only may take you 5. But the point is, you've got to develop the patience to take your time for you to become complete in that area. Some of y'all are gonna start practicing like this with recordings, and you'll have it down pat in a week. Well, good for you. Some of y'all, it's gonna take you all the way until next semester to get it. Who cares? It's not a matter of how long it takes you to get it, it's the fact that you do get it. Let's do it again. And let's not play a flam. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for complete synchronization with the quarter note of this music. These are people. You're playing along. You have the honor and the privilege. Every time you sit down to play along with a record, you get to play with the Duke Ellington Orchestra. All right? Right there. So, you got to listen intelligently. He's on the sock cymbal. You got to listen for specificity. I'm going to show you what he's playing. Y'all are in like a solid 80 percentile. The other 20% is you need to just sit and play your part with the recording. The genius of Dr. Cooper, by having you play the exact thing that's on the record, all of the answers are there. Kenny Garrett told me that. He said to me one time, he said, there are no secrets, Q. It's all on the recording. There are no secrets. They gave, the cheat code is right there. If you just humble yourself and take your time. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many drummers is it back there? So, 4. All right. Who bowled? All right, Team Jesus, switch out. Let me hear you play this. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Yeah, we're playing the tune. So let's start. Let's get together. Wait a second. 1, 2, ready, begin. Next drummer, come on, quickly. 1, 2, 1, 2. You know what to do when you're laying out right here. It's all good. Got it. Yeah, pedal pull. There you go. All right. Okay, stop. Because I think that it's good, and I certainly don't want to inflict. Stop means stop. I help y'all because in the professional setting, cats get fired over that. I don't want to compete with anything that Bean's been teaching them. I don't know if he's told y'all to play this section of the song on the ride cymbal, but when you investigate the recording, he's playing it on the sock. So here's what you need to do. My teacher, whenever I was here, he told me, take the hi-hat into the practice room, don't bring no other drums, and just deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Because the drummer on this recording is Sam Woodyard. Sam Woodyard is a master of the hi-hat cymbal or the sock cymbal. You know what I'm saying? You sound like a lame if you're talking to old jazz hands and you call it a hi-hat. They'll let you slide, but if you go to an old black man and you say, hey man, what you doing with the sock? They'll be like, come here, young blood. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me embrace you. Let me teach you some stuff that you wouldn't otherwise get. It's the sock cymbal. Next drummer. Come on, 1, 2. You know what to do, man. Smart. Quarter note hi-hat thing, but that is stylistically incorrect. So here's what I'll do just for the sake of continuity. New York, I'll let you hop back on and I'll just talk with the drummers after jazz band if that's possible. But really, the main thing that I detect with this band is y'all just gotta listen to the recordings. You just gotta listen to the record. That's the main thing. That's what's making y'all sound lame. You just keep it hot with you. You know what I'm saying? You don't. Whenever judges, y'all are going to the HBCU thing, that's what they're going to tell you. They're going to be able to detect. Okay, they're playing the music accurately, but there's a lack of listening to detail. You have to develop what's called obedient ears. Obedient in Hebrew means to listen intelligently. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you a practical example. If my dad tells me to mop the floor, he don't mean just go get a bucket of water and some soap and start mopping the floor. He means I need to go through with a broom and sweep it first, then mop the floor with the soapy water, and then I need to buff it, or I need to put some kind of wax on it to make it pop after that. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes the reason why we don't listen intently or intelligently to music is because we're just being lazy. Sometimes it's just ignorance. We don't know what to listen for. You know what I'm saying? If you're just learning to play jazz, you're doing good that you're able to get a solid macro analysis. But we're past that baby phase now. Y'all got Dr. Cooper. This man is a brilliant musician who listens to music in a very fastidious, a very meticulous manner. Y'all gotta adopt that. If y'all gonna be students of his, y'all gotta pick that up. So my admonishment to everyone with this recording, do your due diligence. And you gotta, I get it. Some of y'all are like, well, you know, I'm not a music major or I don't have 4 hours to practice. Okay, well just give me a solid 10 minutes. The darn song's only 5 minutes and 40 seconds. You mean to tell me that you can't dedicate 6 minutes of your life to play your part in sync with this recording from now until whenever y'all got a hit? You can, and you should. And when you do, I'm telling you, you'll be able to tell a very significant difference. Questions? Who has any questions? Questions? Oh wow, no, I got nothing. Go ahead. What's up?
Can you talk about what you listen for? Like you're listening to
Whenever I'm listening to a tune,
yeah.
first and foremost, I'm listening to the rhythmic feel. I'm listening to what Miles Davis called the beat within a beat. There's a different way of subdividing the swing rhythm in a boogie-woogie context that's different than a Count Basie context. In fact, no, let's just talk big bands. Which orchestra is this? Duke Ellington. Yeah, y'all are talking. I'm not talking to people who are alive. Yeah, this is the Duke Ellington Orchestra. They have a different way that they deal with the eighth note, the swung eighth note, than the Count Basie Orchestra. And I have to, as a drummer, the drummer is the leader of the band, right? I have to be able to detect that difference. And I gave you the cheat code. It's all about long, short. It's all about long, short. That's the first thing I listen to whenever I play with bass players. We had a gig in VA a few months ago, right? I never played with her before. But guess what? At the end of the gig, Al, right, the gentleman who booked us, he was like, yo, you sound real good. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah. But what it is, I'm listening, the technical terminology for the way the bass players play, the term for duration is called adagic accent. So I'm listening. Whenever I play with people for the first time, in fact, I'll play the song with you. I'll just prove it. 1, 2, 1, 2. You know what to do, man. Yo, you playing out too, man. You sound great. But yeah, balance. Just trying to hear where everybody's volume level's at. Another thing that Brian Blade taught me was paying attention to the Doppler effect. Whenever I play a room, the first thing I do is, in classical music, the understanding is that the room itself is your amplification system. That's why the amphitheaters and the architecture in those buildings are designed for acoustic music. It's designed to amplify acoustic music. Well, jazz is acoustic music. So any setting I go into, the first thing I'm listening for is I'm listening for how does my sound bounce back to me in a room. Next question. What's up?
I kind of have two questions, but so my name is Ian Tooks. I walked in, my apologies for that. But I really loved everything you were saying today, and one thing you spoke to me about was really just the idea of making music tangible in the education sense, because like a lot of what you're hearing I hadn't known, but like it's there. I just, you know, in terms of writing it on paper, it was never there for me, so I'm taking notes and stuff. But when you went through the 100 years of music or rhythm, you gave us about 20 artists to go through just real quick. I tried to get all of them, but you were also talking about the specificity of listening to those 20 geniuses.
Yes.
How do we as musicians or aspiring musicians analyze any one of those artists or musicians or geniuses properly?
The first thing is you got to take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. Exhale. And understand you got the rest of your life to study this. You know what I'm saying? When I was in my 20s, when I was here at A&T, like a lot of young people, I was so ambitious. And I was thinking, yo, I got to get it all in 4 years. No. You got your whole life. Take care of yourself. Eat healthy. That's my answer to that question. Eat healthy, take a break, recognize you have your whole life to study this. Now that doesn't give room for procrastination, but what it means is that recognize that you are in an 18 to 20 year process and be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? And what you do is, it's just like tackling any major problem. You break it down into digestible pieces. You know what I'm saying? I'm teaching my kids, so my 5th graders are doing boots on the ground, the line dance, right? And so the way I'm teaching it to them is I've taken the dance and I've broken it up into 4 main sections. And then, because I'm a drummer, I've taken the chart of, it's a book called Stick Control by George Lawrence Stone. Every percussionist has to learn this book. I've given them this same chart, and it has the different combinations of right and left and right. And that's how I'm teaching them how to dance, because I'm not a dancer. You know what I'm saying? You can probably tell by my posture. I can't. Now I still take your girl. Don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. You feel me? But you know what I'm saying? I'm not a dancer. But I'm teaching them the mechanics of the basic motor skills using that chart. So the answer to your question is just be patient. Take your time. You may pick something up in 5 months that may take somebody else 5 years. It don't matter. And it's a heart thing. You know if you going hard in the paint, and you know if you BSing. You know it. And that's the part that he can't help you with. He can't give you passion and drive. He can only present the information to you with his passion, and hopefully that will stir something up in you. But you got to make up your mind, okay, if I play through this passage 10 times, I know if I messed up 8 times. I know. The audience may not know, but I know. And that's how you got to practice. You got to practice with honesty. You know what I'm saying? Next question. Oh yeah, because you had 2.
Yeah. Next question was in the idea of like what you said, just not even breaking it down, the process of it all, or again the specificity of music when you're listening to records and stuff. Like I noticed how when you were back there when you're playing the rock and rhythm with us, you were before everyone like big band started to play, it was just the trio. Mm-hmm. You were only using the sock or the hi-hat primarily, and then for like add a little salt on it, you add like the snare or anything else. So how can we replicate that? Because you're a drummer, but
yeah, but how does that extrapolate to
yeah.
You've got to map. Okay, so my old teacher here, Dre, like I said, he's one of the jazz royal families. You know what I'm saying? You got obviously the Marsalises, you got other families. He's part of the Moffett family. And so that meant at Thanksgiving, Joe Henderson was at his table. Freddie Hubbard was at his table. Miles Davis would come by and give him toys when he was a little kid. Joe Henderson gave him the answer to your question. He said, because he actually was saying kind of thing. He said, how do you blah, blah, blah. He said, Dre, you've got to develop a personal relationship with each note. Here's a practical way to do that. How many notes of music is there? 12. How many months in a year?
12.
That's how I teach my elementary school kids. My elementary school kids can come in here and play you in the ground with the chromatic scale. They'll kill y'all playing the chromatic scale. Because they recognize the correlation between there's 12 months in the year, there's 12 notes in music. Okay, now here's how y'all can do it as young adults. Spend all of, okay, so it's what? We'll start with C, January, C sharp, February, D natural, March, E flat, or D sharp, April. What month is it? March. So you should just spend the entire month of March practicing D natural and figuring out as many ways that you can flip D natural. And that's just in one register. What if you start skipping octaves with just D and you spend a whole month doing that? You're gonna come to the session and you're gonna get on the blues, because the blues is all about common tones anyways, between the chord changes. You know what I'm saying? It's all about keeping the same chords. You develop your personal relationship with D natural, you're gonna have something to say with D that ain't nobody ever thought of. That's how you tackle it. Take one thing, and so drummers, right? This is how Dre used to have me practice. He had me take apart my whole drum set. And he said, okay, so for this month, you can only play the ride cymbal. You feel me? So, bro, I'm bold. I would show up to gigs with just my ride. And cats would be scared, but guess what? By the time we went on our first break, they were like, hey, yo, Q, you can come to the gig with any part of the drum set you want. Because here's the African concept. I'm gonna give you something else that'll help you. In black music, we think of low, mid, and high. So that means that even though I have one object, that object, what dimension of reality do we exist in? 3 dimensions. 3 dimensions. You can take one thing and approach it 3 different ways. You feel me? You as a drummer, you should be able to make, even though you don't have a bass drum on your snare, you should be able to phrase a rhythm in a way that I still hear a bass drum even though you're not playing. I should hear a hi-hat even though you're not playing. And because you're on the snare drum, I'm definitely going to hear the snare drum. If you approach just one thing 3-dimensionally, I'm telling you, you're going to play less stuff. We were talking about Maceo Parker. That's how come that Maceo is, everything he plays is fire, because he's able to do so much with so little. And that is the Black American experience in this country. You know what I'm saying? What the freak do you think chitlins are? Chitlins is, yo, these people hate us that we work for, and they don't really care if we eat or not. Baby, season up these chitlins. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to tell me twice. You know what I'm talking about? Now, I can't stand chitlins. I'm just going to be honest. You know? Hey, look. Hey, they walk so I can run. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So I ain't eating chitlins. But the point is, the concept is, right? The concept is you've got to learn. Duke Ellington said, don't look at, this was the concept of Black Americans. He said, I don't look at obstacles or negativity as that. He says, I look at them as opportunities to be creative. So that's what you do when you limit yourself. If you limit yourself to one note, really what you're saying is, now you're tapping into the spirit of an overcomer. Because now, you only gonna give me one note? Psst, I'm about to hit you in the head with one note so many different ways. You gonna wish you gave me all 12. Because I got one note and I'm gonna do everything you can do with 12 notes with one note. You know what I'm saying? And let me say this, because I don't want to exclude my Caucasian brothers. Listen, you need to study the struggle of poor white people in this country, because they got the same type of grit and resilience as black folk. And in fact, all that's happened is, from a systemic standpoint, it's the rich people that have tried to divide us. But when you study the Grange movement, poor black people and poor white people were working together, and we were making serious headway in this country. You figure, deal me? Next question, and then I think I'm gonna let y'all get up out of here. I don't want to do my welcome. Yes, sir.
My question is like, personally, I'm having a hard time feeling 2 and 4, like on Lone Star music. I still play it right, but like I'm feeling 1 and 3.
Okay.
Like it sounds right, but I want to speak the language that everyone else is speaking.
I'm gonna give you a cheat code. You've got to learn how to scaffold rhythm, meaning that, okay, go with me through basic rhythmic structure, okay? Where do we start? We start with what? A whole note. What does that whole note divide into? Okay, then what does it divide into? Wrong. It divides into 3 borrowed half notes. You can make your checks payable to Larrydraughnmusic. You know what I'm saying? Then, because it's 1, 2, 3, how the freak you skip 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I gotta count. You know what I'm talking about? Teach elementary school, you feel me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So this is called the rhythmic scale. We learn this marching band as drummers. We work on the rhythmic scale. Here's how it sounds. You'll do 1, 1, 1, 1. You do 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Then you gotta do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can't do a fluid 5, do this one. Do this one. This is when I teach all my babies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you go up to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. You can't do the so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. If you can't do that one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You understand? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. You can't do that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. You did, and you just build up. Your question was feeling 2 and 4. I wanted to show you the rhythmic scale. Here's, you gotta scaffold it. If you're having problem at the quarter note, if you're having problems at the quarter note level, can I say it how I would say to my friend? My next. Do it at the half note level. You figure me? So, because all that 1 and 3 is, 1 and 3 is just a slow, 2, it's a slow version of 4. So let's say you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, then you got 1 and 3, right? So then you got 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you're at that point. Well, check this out. 1, 2, 1, 2. You still got forward motion because all that 2 is the rhythm. Once you get past 1, you are now beginning to progress. The same way we progress in chord progression, right? The same way that we have in a chord progression, we have 1, chord 1, lowercase 2, lowercase 3, capital 4, capital 5, lowercase 6, lowercase 7 with the degree next to it, and then the 1. We progress in rhythm. 2 is, okay, now we're going somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a low and I got a high, or I have a high and I have a low. So that's it. Break it in half. You know what I'm saying? That's what
You said you got your grad. Courses.
Yeah. I love the program at Central. In fact, I'm talking about this today. Now listen, I need y'all to go, even though I love Central, I need y'all to beat them at this competition. So do these things with the recording so we can bring back a trophy, because Central's been dragging A&T for so many years. They were so mad whenever I got the HBCU All-Star drum position, because Central was just used to sending their drummers every year. You know what I'm saying? But you know how I get down. You feel me? NBD. So the biggest thing I learned from Central, Dr. Wiggins, who's now retired, he built that whole program based on the Count Basie Orchestra tradition. Now, while I was here at A&T, my teacher, Moffitt, was a part of the last trumpet section in Duke Ellington's orchestra. So I got the Duke Ellington training here, plus Ornette Coleman and free jazz, and then I'm going to Central to go learn Count Basie, which was like a whole nother world. But just by me saying to you Count Basie, I'm giving you about 80 years of history in just one statement. The first thing you got to learn from Count Basie is the Count Basie orchestra was the orchestra that established what we call the riffing tradition in jazz, where they would literally make up songs on the spot because they used to play dances. Remember, we didn't have DJs back in the day, so the band was the DJ. And so if you got to play a dance that's like 5 or 6 hours, yo, that's going to be tiring after a while. So necessity is the mother of invention. They needed to develop a very quick and efficient system of writing a song on the spot where the audience didn't know that they were improvising. So what they did was they came up with riffs. Riffs are repetitive rhythmic figures. In hip hop, we call them loops, but they came up with loops first. You know what I'm saying? Do, de, do, de, do, de, lo, lo, yo, ye. Do, de, do, de, do, de, lo, lo, ye. This is the blues. Do, de, do, de, do, de, lo, lo, ye. You know what I'm saying? So at Central, I really spent a lot of time just studying the history of Count Basie, meaning learning about like Kansas City. I'm learning about the Count Basie Orchestra in the 30s, but then I'm juxtapositioning that orchestra against the second group that got popular in the 1950s with Sonny Payne. Hey, all the drummers, Sonny freaking Payne. Sonny Payne, he's playing gospel chops over top of big band music. Man, I'm gonna just play it for you right quick. Is that okay, Dr. Coos? And this is how I know y'all are hungry, because listen, when I was here, I used to skip choir just so I could stay in here and ask Dre questions. So this is good. Corner pocket. Listen, you need to put this on your repeat list and watch this. Check out, I'm gonna play you the shout section. Check out how he sets up the shout chorus. Y'all know what the shout chorus is in a big band arrangement, right? It's the climax of a song. So watch how he sets this up. So listen, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that we're doing is just our decade's version of what they've already done. And that's why you as a young person, you've got to be passionate about searching what your fathers and what your mothers have done, because they've already given you the cheat code. All right, I think I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much. Thank you. course, these three. I can't ever talk to them because they never hear. I want to talk. Y'all have your chat groups, right?
Yes.
Please let the trumpet players know that they need to know more than 3 songs. They have to stay 1:30. We're going to 1:30. I've said that many times, right? We're going to 1:30. Trumpet players need to know more than 3 tunes, so they have to be in the rehearsal. They have to come to sectional. You can put that in the chat. I said it. You need to have more than 1 person at the sectional. All right?